Empire Ears Triton. Let's talk about it. Now this is a tribrid from Empire Ears that costs $1,800. This is on loan from a friend of the channel, Enigma Photos. He's another YouTuber, has a few thousand subs, good dude, does a lot of IEM content, and sometimes will trade IEMs. This is his personal set, and I wanted to sincerely thank him for sending me this very expensive, very nice, beautiful set. Let's start by talking about the build quality of this IEM. The shell of this IEM is a little bit large. It is nice looking, it fits ear tips well, it has a gorgeous faceplate. It does have some faults on, in my opinion. I do get drive reflex when I put it in ear. Oftentimes I'll sit and kind of double check a few things before I turn on my music, and I can kind of feel that drive reflex whenever I put it in. Not a bad thing, it happens, but it's something of a little bit of a concern anytime that does happen. But it's an overall nice shell. This is the box, not super exciting, kind of a smaller on the edge box. You have a nice set of tips, pretty good looking little set, but not super exciting. Now the case, this is one of the nicer cases I've seen. It is the puck style case, but it has like kind of a nice felt on the inside. It feels really good. It is really tactile. It has a nice blue color. I like kind of the edges of the top as it's kind of like cut and trimmed around with like steel on it. It's like, I don't even know how they would paint that, but it just looks really nice. I like the design. I like the feel of it. It looks and feels extremely premium. And if you like these style of cases, this is one of the better cases like this that I've encountered. Right and left on easy connectors, you can see very visible. I like the termination of this. That is really cool. It's like has this Triton look to it and feel to it. Very beautiful. This is a fabric cable, which I don't like too much. It is a Pentagon connector, which is kind of famous for being a very high-end style cable. So for our cable believers, this is a very nice cable. For me, it was too microphonic, but I did find it a nice cable other than that. So how does this sound? This is kind of an L-shaped signature. It has some nice vocal extension and kind of a massive drop off. Therefore, I do feel this is a high volume set. It has a nice graph and is a nice overall M, but it's kind of interesting. There's clean, smooth, impactful bass, good, great vocals and mids. But it's just kind of a little bit on the safe bass side. Like it doesn't really punch through and become this boombastic forward set. It's a little bit smooth. It's a little bit relaxed. The owner, Jonathan, I know he really likes the Elysian Acoustics Lab Effect collab, the Noir. And it reminds me a little bit of the Noir and just the fact that it is a little bit relaxed and pulled back, but still effective, smooth, and clean. I don't know if it's my jam, but I recognize this as a good IEM. And let's kind of talk about some other IEMs that are around this price point, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, Empire Ears Triton. You can kind of see what I say. It has nice, kind of rich, thick bass with good sub bass. Kind of lower style presence, upper mids, and kind of its upper mid treble sort of drops off just a little bit. Again, my opinion with this set is what you need to do is like really play at like high volumes. Like if we normalize this at say 3500, you can kind of see how much what would happen here to this treble. That looks good, and you're going to get a ton of extra bass and air when you can crank this up. And so you can really crank up the bass if you want on this set. So that's kind of a fun thing. Normally we normalize at 500, but that's just something to look. I did check this to see if it was impedance sensitive. I didn't really find it impedance sensitive. It seemed to make it a little bit more bass forward, but that's hard to tell. That's really hard to tell, like the differences between these. But I did try it with an impedance adapter and didn't really find any differences to my ears, but maybe I should try it with another one. Who knows? This is a bass headset. I want to compare this to a few other bass headsets. I do have a Z Empire ZE51B on hand. It's this set that the Hawaii Bad Boy, hyped up a few months ago. Really interesting bass in this set. A friend of mine also sent this on loan. Same guy who sent me the Jupiter and sends me to a lot of other stuff. And I wanted to compare this a little bit. If you guys are interested in the Z Empire, please comment below. It's one of those sets it's hard sometimes to do reviews of smaller units because you don't want to like hammer people, and that's kind of the concern there. It is a really fun set, but it's kind of interesting. But you'll notice they kind of have some similar curves. I really like the Triton. I think the Triton might be the better set and kind of where I would go, just as I personally think the Triton's a really fantastic set. But it is a little bit smooth and dark, but it's never offensive. And it never has any peaks or spikes or anything that really comes across as glaring to me, to my sensitive regions, which I absolutely love. Another one to look at. This is I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but this is a really fun bassy set that I found. The Binary Dyna Quattro is a set that I really like. That's a lot cheaper. While the Triton's an expensive set, I always do try to kind of recommend sets that have some similar characteristics. I don't think it has the impactful bass, the smoothness of the Triton, but the Dyna Quattro has a very nice tuning and a little bit of interesting weirdness in the upper mid treble and air region. And I do think the Triton, if no money, no object, would probably be the better set to go. And I think a lot of the high-end audiophiles are going to like it, whereas the Dyna Quattro, it's a really fun kind of mid-centric bassy set that I think people are going to like too. But it's only cost $200, and I think there's something to be noted that they're even in the same category. Dyna Quattro is a great set, and there's a lot of great sets that you don't always have to spend a ton of money for. I want to compare this to some of the fat frequency sets. I tried the Grandmeister SE, and I was not a fan. You notice the bass responses are very similar. The Maestro has a little bit more presence region, but it has this just ton of air and mid treble, and I just kind of think it's sort of jank. They're about the same price, but I would go with the Triton, no question. We look at some other ones, like the Fat Frequency Maestro Mini. The Maestro Mini's like a $600 set, but the Maestro Mini, I've heard about some QC issues. I tested a fellow YouTuber set, Make It Wayne, who has a Maestro Mini, and it was kind of a dumpster fire. Like, I had one side where the bass was just totally dropping off out of the blue, like the driver had an intermittent connection and it wasn't fixed, and it was just horrible. And they sent it all the way back to Singapore. They sent it back to him, and it's still junk. So I would be a little bit cautious of some of the Fat Freak stuff because of that. But I mean, you do you. If you're a big boy, you do what you want. But personally, after having that and hearing something like the Triton, how beautiful it is, I kind of would go in that regards if you're going to spend a lot of money, but something to kind of note and think about. Another one like the Fat Frequency Scarlet Mini, again, there's bass and then there's Scarlet Mini bass. Like, if you normalize this at 800 just for kicks, because that's really where the bass starts rising on the Mini, it's just this insane level. Like, there's a fun level, like an appropriate level, and the Scarlet Mini just takes that to the T. It also has a ton of air presence region. It's kind of a janky, crazy set. I can see how people would like it, but it's very colored and a little bit strange in my opinion. Another set to look at if you are looking at a Fat Freak, I do think something like the Deuce is a really good set. A little bit more upper mids, a little bit like kind of the Dyna Quattro. Different level of bass, ton of sub bass, has a little bit glidey late bass, which a lot of people like that, and that feels like it doesn't muddy up their mids. And I think the Deuce is a very strong set like that, and I think people are gonna like it. Another one I really like is the High Senior Mega 5 Bass Plus. This is very similar to HBB's Punch. They have kind of a nice even kiltered glided set. You'll notice a little bit higher peak presence region. This kind of has, like the Triton has kind of the peaky cat ears, which some people like. I kind of like the point in the Mega 5 bass, and has a little bit more extended treble, which kind of makes it, I don't know, different. I kind of like the Mega 5 bass a little bit better, but you kind of do you. Another one that I might do a review on, I wanted to compare this to, is the 64 Audio U6T. Now, I don't know, there's something wrong and weird about this set. they both kind of have that peaky cat ears treble. I have the 64 Auto U6T on loan. Again, if anyone would like a review of that, just mention it below. And if you see someone, just let me know. I'm always happy to try to help get you guys reviews if you're interested, and I can make it happen, but I get busy. So anyhow, the Triton has this really great sub bass and mid bass and a little bit better extension. It's kind of my view of where I would go personally. Again, we're not talking about price, we're not talking about value. I just think the Triton sounds so much better than the U6T. Like the U6T just kind of has some weird oddities to it, and it's just not something that I personally would recommend. I mean, another one that's kind of the darling of the audiophile world, and Mark just did a review on this, I think 1HBB's IEM of the year, the Origin. Man, the Origin's a weird set. It has a great sense of space to it, but its micro details are just horrible. And it has kind of this weird, odd bass sometimes, and kind of a weird sense to it. Like, you might like it. I mean, you might like it a lot. It's kind of special, but you might not really like it. I think the Triton's a lot more pleasing. It's a little bit more downslope tilted, and I just think overall, I think it's just kind of a cool thing. Let's see if we can do a tilt with this. You just kind of notice that. The Triton's in blue. The Origin is in green, and you just notice kind of how the Triton just kind of goes down, whereas the Origin kind of goes down and then it comes back up again. That's just something to note and to think about, like two different approaches to this upper air region. If you're sensitive to upper air, the Megafy or the audio Origin is just, it's probably not something I would recommend to you at all. One more I wanted to compare this to is the Fur Audio RN6, and you'll just notice the RN6, it has pretty nice bass, has a lot of upper air mids. It's kind of an interesting tune. Again, I just think the Triton is so much less offensive and just kind of a smoother set overall. I feel like there's a lot of this upper kind of treble region. I mean, it reminds me of something like the Dita Project M almost a little bit, and kind of has this upper kind of spike around 8K and just kind of upper mid treble region. It's just, not every set's gonna be for you. And I think the Empire Ears Triton, when you're gonna spend a lot of money, is something that I kind of dig, but it kind of needs to be cranked and kind of has a special unique flair to it. Okay, let's rank this guy up. I mean, the Empire Ears Raven, I've debated with this. It has really nice smooth bass, decent mids, and kind of its highs sort of drop off. It images well, but I think it needs to be at high volume, which is kind of something that I've noticed with certain sets sound better with it. It has nice bass, it has nice note weight, has a good stage and sound to it, but it kind of does lack that kind of special sauce. But it is a fun, smoother, dark set that I fully enjoy and recommend to people. But to me, it's kind of an esoteric, kind of crazy, specialized tuning that's not going to be for everybody. All right, the Empire Ears Triton. It's a nice set. It's a beautiful set. It has some nice elements of its packaging. Some things like its cable I wasn't super impressed with, but overall I think this is a solid, lovely set for people that like it. Again, with any set that's ever really expensive, I always recommend you guys to demo stuff and to give it a go first before you just flat out buy things that's expensive. Empire Ears goes to a lot of can jams, and it's one of those sets that it's not bad, but it's one of those sets that I like personally. If I were to say, hey, I have this much to spend, what would I buy? It might make the list, but there's other sets that you can tell that on my ranking list, stuff that I kind of recommend or might recommend more. So it's an interesting, like the upper market is sort of a crazy thing. So buy responsibly. Again, big thanks to Enigma Photos for sending this out. He's a great dude. Check out his channel. If you guys have any questions or there's anything I talked about today you want me to review, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Oh, you're expecting a teaser for our next video. Well, we don't have that kind of money. What are you expecting? One of those store reviewers to show up in a saucy little leather number? Go. Oh, I can tell you one thing. We are going to have a collab video. We have no idea what it's going to be. Probably Kryn, maybe Chris, or Joyce. Don't deny it. She's got range. Go. Get out of here. Go.
Go!
Go.
Go on with you!